I mean, so I've got it going fast forward, but you're really just like you would do with a block in, you want to push lightly first, make sure that you've got control over how you're filling things in. And then after you've got it filled in, lightly go in and push harder. That's really the process when it comes to using colored pencils, crayons, oil pastels, chalk pastels, all of those different kinds of, more dry media. So the triangles are pointing to how things are being made, right? Uh, red, yellow, blue, they're the only things that make red, yellow, and blue. That's why they're primary colors. Now we're doing the secondary colors, which are purple, orange, and green. And those ones are made by mixing together the primary colors. So these arrows on the inside are what we're going to follow to mix some colors to make those secondary colors. So here we go. You take your darkest hue first, and you're adding it in lightly to that triangle. And then after you've added the darkest hue lightly, you're going on top of it with the lighter hue, and you're building up layers, adding more of the darker hue or the lighter hue until you get to the hue that you're trying to make, the one that's on the outside circle. And Crayola has a, a basic green color, and we're trying to match that basic green color. It's not always going to be perfect, but you're trying to get to that point. Right? It's really a very intuitive thing, being able to see it, but because these are very transparent layers that you can add on top of each other, you can really spend your time mixing a good color. It's a slow process mixing these colors, and that's a good thing because oftentimes, when you're working with wet media like paint or inks, uh, the process can go so quickly it's difficult for you to see how you're making a change to the color. But here, especially with crayons, it's just really obvious how you're making a change with the color. You can definitely see the colors mixing, you know, in real time. So just like we did to mix the secondary colors, we're going to make the tertiary colors. Tertiary color is just primary color plus a secondary color. When you have the primary and the secondary right here, it makes it really easy to mix them. If you have to make your secondary out of a primary, it becomes even more complicated, as we'll see on the next worksheet that we're working on. But you're filling them in the same way. Darker of the two hues first, add a layer of the next hue, build up those layers until you have the color that you want. You're going to see as I'm filling in this teal right now, when I come back later on, I notice that it's not as intense as I could have made it when I make the other ones. And so I come back and I fix it up. You should just be, pay attention to the reference sheet that you've got here in front of you, my example, so that you can really try to, get a good mix of these colors. So all the colors that we have here are just the basics. You've got all kinds of other combinations that you can mix together that have lots of other names. The names of colors, can get really crazy. They've got all kinds of different types of names. Uh, if you look at your colored pencils, you'll see all the different names that you have on those colored pencils. Those are all different hues. So once you've got the whole color wheel filled in, your next step is filling in all these other color combinations down below. And you're using the primary colors and the secondary colors that you've been given, right? So if you need to fill in a secondary color, just fill it in with a crayon, and then mix the rest. Bada bing, bada boom.